Hello, everybody, and welcome in on this Monday morning. I'm Brooks Baptiste checking in from the First Alert Desk to get you caught up on some of the stories that are making headlines at this hour. There are several stories that we are watching right now. One of the bigger stories that seems to be sparking a lot of conversation online is regarding mosquitoes here in Georgia. And, while we all have to deal with them to some degree whenever we're out and about and outside, especially in the summer months, there is concern right now after West Nile virus was detected among several mosquitoes, two of them to be exact, in traps in metro Atlanta that tested positive. So this is all according to the Fulton County Board of Health. Atlanta News First Sarah Hammond is live from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, and she has more about what you can do in hopes to protect yourself. All right, looks like we may be having just a couple of issues with that, but let me fill you in on this story here. So pardon me as I have to look down at the computer just a little bit to keep you up to date. But right now, the biggest concern is these were detected in certain places that are a part of Fulton County. You had Hapeville, and then also Northwest Atlanta being those places where they were detected. Now, here's what experts are saying that you should do right now. They're saying you want to remember the 5 Ds of mosquito bite prevention. So I'm going to read them to you. You've got dusk and dawn. That's one of the Ds, where you want to avoid dusk and dawn activities in the summer when those mosquitoes are most active. We know it. We usually see them around that time. Also, how you dress is so important when you're out and about, because wear loose-fitting, long-sleeve shirts and pants so that you can have less skin exposure. DEET, also something that experts are recommending that you use. They say you want to cover that exposed skin that you may have with insect repellent that actually has DEET in it, because that is considered the most effective repellent against mosquito bites. And then drain any of those containers that may have sitting water, because that is a breeding ground for mosquitoes. So, and actually for virus-carrying mosquitoes, even more specifically. And then doors, keep the doors and the windows in good shape. Keep them tight. Make sure there aren't anything, within your screen, because mosquitoes can get through those screens with holes in them as well. So anything that you can do to try and keep those mosquitoes out of your home and keep them off of your body when you're outside is oh so necessary. And you can find more information right now on AtlantaNewsFirst.com. We actually have a story that is dedicated to all of this information, where you can hear Atlanta News First Sarah Hammond's report regarding this, and we'll have an update for you on Atlanta News First at noon as well. All right, let's get into some other stories that we're staying on top of. This one is quite disturbing. Something that is coming out of Cumberland Mall, so out there in the Cobb County area on Friday, a Metro Atlanta family believes that their son, who uses a wheelchair, was discriminated against while they were setting up shop inside of the Cumberland Mall. We got a chance to talk with the family of, of this person who has made these claims and whatnot. But the mall is saying that this was all just one big misunderstanding. Atlanta News First, Joe Gorcho has more.
And I'm being honest, I come to y'all with tears in my eyes.
Damon Crump Sr. posted this video to Facebook on Friday. The post captioned, "Special needs people can't come to the mall now?"
If my son can't stay, then we can't stay. We leaving as well.
Crump Sr. never envisioned a big opportunity ending in an early exit. His small business won a Morehouse College contest to earn a vendor spot to sell inside Cumberland Mall for Major League Baseball All-Star Weekend.
And I was talking to him man to man, father to father, like, man, this is my son you're speaking of, and there was just no remorse.
Crump Sr., with his wife and son by his side, claims the Cumberland Mall general manager asked their 32-year-old son, who has cerebral palsy, to leave.
As we were setting up, we were told that my son couldn't be there with us. He needed to leave the mall. We were like, huh? What do you mean? Like he couldn't be here, as if he was in the way. We're his parents. We were able to watch him, see him, everything.
Crump Sr. says he then asked the GM a direct question.
And I said, sir, do you know this is discrimination to do this to him? He said, well, file whatever complaint you want, and you guys can leave.
Stunned, the Crumps left. Atlanta News First received this statement from the mall's ownership group, Brookfield Properties. Quote, "This was a deeply unfortunate situation, and we regret our poor communication that led to this misunderstanding. We have reached out to Mr. Crump and welcome his family to return to our shopping center. We share the response with Crump.
This was not a misunderstanding. So we don't have any desire to return to the mall. We have no plans on doing that.
Crump tells us the GM also called and apologized earlier in the day, inviting them back. But for the Crumps, the apology came too late.
And then all of a sudden now you want to make amends. It doesn't work that way.
Joe Gorcho, Atlanta News First.
Yeah, very disturbing situation there, and one that has really perhaps shed light on a greater issue just regarding people who have needs. So we're going to be staying on top of that story. I'm sure there will be more developments that come into play, and we will be sure to update you both on there and on the free Atlanta News First app. What a little more of positive news and, something that has been very good for the city of Atlanta. Beyoncé, Queen Bee as they call her, having her fourth and final concert regarding her Cowboy Carter tour in Atlanta. That stop in Atlanta. This is not the final of the tour as a whole, but this is the final stop in Atlanta. And fans of Queen Bee are bringing a lot of support to local businesses. Atlanta News First Bridget Spencer actually has more about one local business that says everybody and their cousin and their mom and everybody else has been stopping by there to make sure they have those cowboy-centric outfits just in time to see Queen Bee.
Kind of like they wrap it around their neck.
Since Thursday, sales have been nonstop for Eric Ramos at Laredo's Western Wear on Buford Highway.
There's a lot of people who are kind of like, new to the Western, and it's also getting popular too.
Beyoncé is putting on a show, not only at the Benz, but around Atlanta. Ramos is situated about 15 to 20 minutes from the stadium, making it an easy stop for people looking for a Western-inspired outfit to attend Cowboy Carter.
A lot of people learn because sometimes I don't know if I would look good in a hat. They put on the hat and they're like, oh, I actually don't look bad in a hat.
Okay, how's it look? Fans from all over the country are flocking to the city and bringing their dollars with them.
I did get this yesterday in Atlanta, so luckily it worked out nicely.
I lived in Texas for a while, so I started getting into line dancing and cowboy boots and stuff. So for her to bring it out and make it like everybody can enjoy it, I think it's awesome.
It's very traditional Western music, and it's very impactful if you listen front to back.
For Ramos and his 29-year-long family business, they're thankful for all the fans.
Inflation and immigration raids, it's affected us, but with Beyonce, her coming, there's been a lot more customers.
In Atlanta, Bridget Spencer, Atlanta News First.
All right, we'll be seeing what happens tonight at the concert as well because, I've shared with people what I discovered on social media, and even one of our producers who's not too far from our First Alert desk, she kind of had an issue with me bringing it up to her regarding Jay-Z hitting the stage last night, surprising all of the fans. But you know what? That is just something that Beyonce is good for. She's good for a surprise. At least that's what they tell me because I still haven't been to one of her concerts. But we'll have to see if Jay-Z pops up on the stage tonight. But everybody who had a ticket on Friday and Thursday, they're a little salty right now. And I could possibly understand why. Let's give you a live look outside where you can see the blue skies are smiling at us on this Monday. And this is all so great. First Alert meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi is here to get you caught up on what's happening in the weather. But you know what? It's mid-July.
Right.
It's supposed to be hot right now, as much as we complain about it, but this is really what we're supposed to be dealing with.
Absolutely. All the people who are visiting for, the big all-star game for the Beyoncé concert, they're not used to this kind of heat. Woo! They're not going to want to come back. It's hot out there. It's going to be a hot day today. In fact, some spots could reach pretty dangerous heat. We do have a heat advisory in effect for some spots across Metro. But a gorgeous view, great-looking weather. If you are heading to that Home Run Derby tonight, if you're heading to the Beyoncé concert tonight, you should be in good shape forecast-wise. Now, unfortunately, it does look like that changes a little bit tomorrow. We just added, and by we, I mean First Alert meteorologist Rodney Harris and I, just added a First Alert weather day for tomorrow because latest model data, and the model data that's actually been doing really, really well lately with our forecast pattern, is hinting at quite a wet afternoon and evening tomorrow, just in time for a lot of the events to be going on across Atlanta, including, of course, the big All-Star game. So we'll talk about that in just a second. For now, here's a look at the high temperatures today. Very, very hot. One of the hottest days of the year. 96 for high in Atlanta today. Look at Eatonton, 97. Even the mountains reaching the low 90s today. So very hot July afternoon on the way across North Georgia. But with the humidity that is undoubtedly going to be there, it is summertime, it's going to feel even hotter. So most places today are expected to feel more like the upper 90s to near 100. But notice those areas in orange from Thomaston, so Upson County through Lamar County, Butts County, Jasper and Putnam County, all the way up into Banks County, including Athens and also Greshamville, Covington. You're all under that heat advisory that'll go into effect this afternoon through 8 o'clock tonight for heat index values, those feels like temperatures of upwards of 105 degrees. By lunchtime today, so if you're getting up and at it, maybe you're going to be heading to the All-Star Village, maybe you're going to go meet up with some friends before you start to get ready for that Beyoncé concert tonight, or maybe you're simply just going to be going to grab lunch back to work on a Monday. It is going to feel at lunchtime more like 96 in Atlanta, 99 in Covington, 100 in Eatonton. So we're already going to be approaching triple-digit feels like temperatures at lunchtime. Then going towards 4 o'clock, we're looking at heat index values anywhere, again, between 100 to 105. This particular model saying it could feel like 106 in the city of Atlanta. We'll see if we really officially get there, but regardless, hot. No matter which way you flip it, it's going to be very, very hot out there. So if you are spending any time outdoors today, make sure you're drinking lots of water, taking breaks if you need, finding some shade, the light-colored, loose clothing. All those things are really good to keep in mind, especially if you're visiting from out of town and you're not used to this kind of heat. It'll really hit you, especially if you're out on the pavement and in the direct sunlight. So make sure you're doing everything you can to stay cool and hydrated today. Let's take you through First Alert Futurecast and talk about the rain chance. Very slim today, just an isolated storm possible. But if you get caught under one of those isolated storms, you're going to know it because it's going to carry very heavy rain, maybe some gusty wind, and definitely some frequent lightning around 6 o'clock, so for the evening commute. But then again, mostly dry through the evening. Now going into tomorrow, we'll stay dry through the first half of the day, and then after 2 o'clock will be fair game for some isolated storms to develop. But here's a look at 5 p.m. So for your evening commute, scattered storms do look fairly likely, including maybe over near Truist Park, where of course the All-Star game will be kicking off tomorrow night. But this is the reason that we added that First Alert Weather Day. Notice how storms kind of train around the same area, kind of along and north of that I-85 corridor. So this could lead to maybe a rain delay. This could lead to some localized street flooding, especially in the city of Atlanta if we get some showers to develop for a few hours. We saw that last Friday where we had those storms pop up over Metro and then kind of linger on and off for a few hours. So we had that flash flood warning for Atlanta last Friday. Very similar setup. We could have kind of a boundary set up right over the 85 corridor, and that would allow kind of for a focal point for showers and storms to develop tomorrow. Now, some of that moisture that is going to allow for those heavy downpours and some of the storms is going to come from a low that's going to be developing in the Gulf in the next couple of days. National Hurricane Center, 30% chance of development on this low that hasn't developed yet. See where that X is off the Atlantic coast, kind of near Jacksonville? That's where this low is expected to develop, and then it's going to get pushed into the Gulf thanks to a feature that's actually taking over our forecast area. But as that low moves into the Gulf, that's going to pull in Gulf moisture from the southeast, bring our wind out of a more southerly direction. That's going to make it feel even stickier, just give us more moisture for those storms to take more advantage of. But if you had any travel plans to the west coast of Tampa, so the Gulf Coast or the Panhandle, just know that it is going to be pretty stormy, especially mid to late week with that low developing. So if you had any beach trip plans this week, just know that you'll want to pay attention to the forecast. So let's talk about kind of the forecast pattern with this. We have this tropical low that's going to try to develop. Then we have an area of high pressure over us. Well, the way wind rotates around high pressure is clockwise, and that's going to kind of steer that tropical low into the Gulf. High pressure kind of acts like a dome of protection. It's like a force field. And so that's going to prevent that low from drifting north into our area. So our impacts will be minimal, but we'll still have that Gulf moisture streaming in from that low as it rides along the Gulf. And that's, again, just really going to give us a lot of humidity and allow for that boundary to set up and create those more widespread showers and storms tomorrow with some very heavy rainfall rates that could lead to that street flooding. It does look like as that low kind of moves closer to Louisiana and starts to push west, we'll start to get some more kind of typical summer-like humidity. It's not going to be super oppressive, but our precipitable water value, which is what you're looking at here, essentially the amount of moisture in the air, that's going to kind of, again, go back to more normal levels. Where you see that green there, that's still sticky, but the blue color is that tropical. Those are really, really high humidity values. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of a break break after one day of really, really high humidity when that low initially develops, potentially tomorrow. So you just look at that First Alert 7-day forecast. Today, just a spotty storm, hot and humid is really the big story today. And that First Alert weather day tomorrow, we need to up that rain chance. We're going to up that rain chance to 50% actually for those storms that'll develop mainly between about 5 and 9 p.m. That could very well give a rain and storm delay for the All-Star game tomorrow night. Could impact your evening commute. We could have some localized street flooding tomorrow. And then we go into a very typical summer-like pattern, 20 to 30% isolated afternoon storm chances each day. Temperatures staying in the low 90s, so kind of a rinse and repeat forecast into the upcoming weekend. So if you already are thinking about the weekend and you're starting to think about your plans, absolutely continue on with them. But if the forecast changes at all, we'll let you know. Alrighty, everyone. I appreciate you spending some time with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. Make sure to join First Alert meteorologist Rodney Harris at 11 for First Alert Weather Plus. He's going to talk more about the tropics and how that could impact the All-Star game. He'll kind of go over the latest details with you. And I hope you make it a wonderful day. Stay cool and enjoy your Monday, everyone.
Stay up to date on your latest weather from the largest team of meteorologists in the Southeast. Download the First Alert Weather app for hour-by-hour forecasts and join us every weekday at 11:30 a.m. on ANF+. You can also text